Ready?
Yeah.
Hey everyone, this is Playing Dirty podcast with Katie and Megan.
Hi, guys.
Thank you for tuning in. We're really excited to be starting our first episode here. And we just really wanted to start this podcast as a way for us to not only like catch up and chat every week, but talk about things that we both have seen, current events in sports, and that we're really interested in, and hopefully spill some tea.
Yeah. Hopefully we'll be recording one episode a week, but Katie and I have very busy lives, so if that doesn't happen, we're sorry, but we're just doing this for fun. So, hopefully, um we'll tackle some big sports news that's happened during the week since as our episodes go on. Give you what's happened the past week, look to future events, and then pick something that either Katie and I have no clue what we're talking about and we're learning something new, or we've been around the sports world for a while. So, something that we know really well. So, yeah. All right. Let's talk about how we met, Katie. Tell us when you
Okay.
first met me.
Yeah. So I've known Megan now for 6 or 7 years. And long story short, we met in college and we were both rushing a sorority. And we just like kind of became instant friends. I remember you were like the girl that I was like, oh, she's cool. Like, she's a chiller, one of the ones that like I actually really wanted to hang out with and get to know. And I remember being like, I don't know anything about going out in college. Like, I don't know about going to parties. Like, I've never drank before. And I was really excited when, I don't know, Kaio had like some sort of like first first going out night or whatever with the frats. And
Oh,
and
yeah.
we walked together and I was like, this is so sick. I made a friend. And that's when we started like talking.
Wait, I totally forgot about that. All I remember is going to your volleyball games freshman year and like
Oh,
cheering for you in the stands. That, and I remember the first family weekend. It was the a football game, and it was the only family weekend for football that my parents came to.
hmm.
Because after that, I was always working. But um, your family and my family sat together on the bus
Oh
all
yeah.
the way to the Rose Bowl.
Yeah, yeah, that was so fun. Yeah, and our parents got along really well, like weirdly initially. And then I feel like we just had a lot in common. Like we both played sports growing up. We like kind of had the a same perspective on college and like friends. Um and then after the beginning of freshman year, I feel like we didn't really talk, or like we like would catch up once in a while.
Yeah, you didn't actually join the sorority because of because of college athletics, but
Yeah.
I saw you in the gym all the time squatting, and then junior year you texted me and asked if you could live with me senior
Yeah.
year,
Yeah.
and so we signed a lease together, and then COVID hit, so we were shoved into our little box of an apartment together, but it was like the best and the worst of times, I think.
Oh, for sure. Yeah. And I'm so glad that it ended up working out to where, like, I think everything worked out how it should have. It was very, like,
Yeah.
sad to school was online and it was senior year and everything, but we did a lot of fun things. Like,
Yeah.
like you sending me that World Series video the other
Oh,
day,
yeah.
I was like, that made me cry. Like, we were just in our, like, living room watching the World Series on a laptop. Like,
Or just going to Barney's Beanery and getting a beer and watching whatever game was on that night. Like,
yeah.
we had fun.
It felt like simpler times.
I don't really look on that time as simple, Katie.
Well, not
It
to,
was
I
like
mean,
the most complicated, like convoluted time in our lives. Like, so many things were happening, especially in Los Angeles. And it got it got really good by the end, but by the end you had graduated, and when LA was starting to reopen, I mean, we saw each other here and there, but I don't
That's
know,
true.
that time was hard. You saw me shed many a tear.
Oh, sure. I mean, it was so you literally took care of me when I got COVID. Like,
Oh yeah.
no, you guys, Megan would make me toast and berries and put them outside the door to feed me to like help me survive COVID, which was so sweet. It was a terrible, terrible time. But yeah, no, I told you I drove past the apartment today in Westwood and I was like, oh, so,
You
like a
miss
lot
it.
of happy moments, a lot of sad moments, but I'm like I think it worked out the way that it was supposed to.
Absolutely. Yeah.
But yeah, since then we've been thick as thieves, and yeah, we both. I think athletics is one of those things that we have always had in common. Like you working for the athletic department and just like
Mhm.
being around people that I had played with and like people that I knew in athletics. Like
Right.
we knew a lot of the same people. But yeah, no, I think we have a cute little story. By the way, everyone, I don't think we mentioned this, but we met at UCLA. I am originally from Los Angeles. Megan is from Tucson, Arizona, the
Yes.
Dirty T,
So deep down, I betrayed the Pac-12. I'm a University of Arizona fan at heart.
which is totally fine. That's fine.
Especially when UCLA and USC leave the Pac-12, then I'll have less of a conflict. But
Yeah, true.
over the past, I don't know, 6, 7 years, I've had to pick my battles and then get yelled
So,
at on social media.
would you say it's you'd pick UCLA football?
Yeah, because Arizona football is so trash.
Yeah.
Arizona football hasn't been good in a while. Um, and then for the other sports, it's just hit or miss. Like
Yeah.
I have the opportunity to go to a lot of the U of A games now that I'm living in Arizona again. So I feel more connected to those teams than I do UCLA. Especially when you get busy and you have a job and a game is on in the middle of the day. Like there's no chance that I'm watching.
Right.
But when it comes to like baseball, basketball, it's hard.
I know, because I feel like they're equally, I feel like a lot of times they're pretty evenly matched.
In those sports, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, man, I actually just recently saw my uncle and he had, I think I told you, he had Arizona going to the end. Like he was pulling for Arizona and then they just like kind of fell off, rolled over, and that was really sad because I took them actually pretty far too.
I had UCLA going farther, but it was a big disappointment all around that
It
we
was.
don't need to talk about.
Yeah, that was a
It's so
rough,
sad.
rough March Madness for sure. I'll always be loyal to UCLA, but and Michigan,
Mm-hmm.
but that will definitely be a conflict of interest once they go to the Big Ten. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. Okay, do we want to get into our weekly recap here?
Yeah, go
Okay.
for it.
So, NBA playoffs have been happening, and I will say they have been pretty eventful. Uh,
Yeah.
like I don't know if you saw before we like jump into what's happened, but did you see the guy who was totally like talking shit on LeBron, saying like, "Oh, he's old."
No, no, no. It was
Who was that?
on Memphis. It was
Oh,
Dylan
Memphis
Brooks, and then he
Grizzlies.
got ejected because he hit LeBron in the groin, which brings up, I mean, a lot of points that happened, which we can just talk about now. But like, he made all these comments about LeBron, like stirred up all this drama, hits him in the groin in game 3.
Mm-hmm.
And then the refs call it a flagrant 2, I think. So he gets ejected from the game, but he doesn't get suspended. But earlier, Draymond Green
Mm.
got a flagrant
Oh boy.
2, got ejected from the game, and then he got suspended after that. And so it's this big conversation about fairness in the NBA reffing, and I think people are
Mm.
having a hard time now with the playoffs because the NBA was saying if players have a history of stirring up drama or committing flagrant fouls or whatever it may be,
Yeah, yeah.
um, they're delivering harsher punishments, but it's just not equal across the board. So
Interesting.
it'll be interesting to keep watching. We can give an update as of right now. It's Sunday. So the 76ers have advanced to the Eastern semifinals. The Celtics are leading the Hawks 2-1. The Knicks are leading the Cavs 3-1. The Kings and the Warriors are tied 2-2.
Yeah.
That's the best series to watch at the moment.
Yeah.
The Lakers and the Grizzlies, it's 2-1 Lakers. The Heat are leading the Bucks 2-1, and the Suns, my favorite NBA team, are beating the Clippers 3-1, and the Nuggets are leading the Timberwolves 3-0.
Mm.
The Suns and the Clippers playing each other brings up, speaking of living together during COVID, when I went on a date to the Suns Clippers series back in 2021,
Mm-hmm.
I went to game 3 at the Clippers arena. So
Mm-hmm.
what I think it was Staples Center at the
At
time.
that time, yeah.
And it was the only game they lost. And I was like, "Oh my god."
Oh, bad luck charm.
I know.
Did you guys have good seats?
We were up in the nosebleeds,
Mm.
and so the players looked tiny, but it
Mm.
was so fun. Like it's
Yeah.
probably one of the best memories I had from that year was going. My date was wearing neutral clothing, but cheering for the Clippers because he was from LA,
Mm.
and I was decked out in my son's gear.
Nice.
So
Yeah. I feel like there's something really cool to be said about like wearing something like Suns gear or like an out of state team where you really like they're your team in a huge city like LA because it's so unique, you know? And like some LA fans are like harsh about it. Like if anyone's wearing a non-Dodgers like any sort of merch, you look at them and you're like, "Okay, really?" But I feel like the Suns are one of those teams you can like get away with it.
let me tell you, I have one Suns t-shirt that I wear all of the time, and I wore it to the when UCLA basketball made it into the Elite Eight or won the Elite Eight and they're going to the Final Four. UCLA just went nuts and they had this huge rooftop party. And I
Mm-hmm.
remember showing up and I was like in my PJs. So I like threw on a t-shirt and shorts and just like went to the whole thing, like no
Yeah.
makeup, nothing, with my like bottle of water. And everyone kept stopping me and being like, "Oh my God, like I love your t-shirt, blah, blah, blah."
Yeah.
The other day I wore that shirt to work and I went downstairs where the veterinarians work, and I was like, turn the corner and two of the like vet techs were talking about the whole Draymond Green incident, and he was like, "Oh yeah, you like stepped on his chest." And I was like, "Oh, you guys talking about Draymond Green?" And he turned
Mm.
around and he was like, "You know basketball?" And I was like, "I mean, yeah, I know
Yeah.
basketball. I mean, like I don't follow it religiously, but when I was little, I used to go to all the Suns games, and I love watching sports." And he's like, "That's crazy." He was like, you guys being women." He was like, "You guys
Yeah.
always wear like sports t-shirts and like don't actually ever follow it." And he was like, "It's so cool to
Excuse
meet
me?
someone who follows sports." He was like, "You
I'm
are
dead.
so rare. Like I'm obsessed." And I walked
I'm
upstairs. I was
dead.
just cracking up. I was like, why would I wear my Phoenix Suns t-shirt around if I wasn't a Phoenix Suns fan?
That first of all, I have so many thoughts about that interaction. From my perspective, men know way too much about sports. You should not be able to recall a play from like 2009 from like a tight end who didn't even make it into the NFL from your college team. Like where is your mental energy going to like store that information? Like it's just like I can't. Like, how do you
You know,
remember?
you know what I really don't understand is when people in their free time, of which who as an adult has this much free time? I don't know because it's
Mhm.
not you or I. But to go back and watch full sporting events that happened like
I know.
30 years ago,
I know.
you
I
just sit there
know.
and watch it. You know what's going to happen. And then you're like, oh, yeah, in the fourth quarter, LeBron makes a layup to win the, and you're like, why do you remember that? Like, how is that stored in your brain? I
That's what
don't
I'm
remember what
saying.
I had for breakfast.
Literally. And you know what? I feel like I respect it because my brother does the same thing. My brother can remember things and like recall things before he was even like, when he was like 5 years old, not even watching sports. He can reference plays that have happened. And I'm like, how do you even know that? But I know it's absolutely insane. But that comment, okay, like relax, guy. Like I can wear a Sun shirt. I don't have to know like the stats of last night's game to be supportive. Which is like,
It's like when you
go ahead.
it's like when you wear a band t-shirt and then someone asks you to like name a song that
Yeah.
that band has played.
Yep. Exactly. Exactly. Like I just don't think it matters if you are able to like recall every player or no, like every play. Like if you just enjoy, I think that embodies what this podcast is. Like
It absolutely, because we know the bare minimum about a lot of things.
yeah.
But someone the other day was like, "Oh, like what are your hobbies?" So my career is in research and scientific research. And so my days are pretty mentally draining,
Mhm.
and I mean it's science. Like it doesn't
Right.
have a ton of re- relation to sports. Someone's like, "Oh, what do you do in your free time?" And I was like, "I go to sporting events." Like
Yeah.
that was it. Like
Yeah.
watch sports, follow sports. I don't need to know everything about it, but it's so fun to partake in and be a fan and have those moments. Like I get to, in my mid 20s spend time with my parents at
Mhm.
all of the U of A
Mhm.
events. And the other night I like went to a Arizona baseball game by myself and it was so fun. I got to
Yeah.
meet everyone that was sitting around me. Everyone was super friendly. It's just a good opportunity. Like in total aside, if you're single and you want to go do something by yourself, like go sit at a bar and watch
Yeah.
a sporting event by yourself.
100%.
It just allows you to connect with people, I think, in a different way than some other hobbies.
Oh, for sure. And it's something that I think for both of us has been like from when we were kids. Like your parents have always been really involved in like University of Arizona sports, and like my parents both went to UCLA. My dad played football there, my uncle played baseball there. Like it has been our lives. Like it's something that we've always been able to like fall back on and enjoy and have a sense of like community. And I've met a ton of my best friends through sports, and like it's a piece of our lives that no matter where we are, we always somehow come back to. And that sounds so corny, but it's like, just like you said, it's like you're working so hard during the day. Now we're like adults. Now we have to focus on responsibilities. And then when you're done, you just want to like go turn on the Lakers game and
Yeah.
or the Suns, whatever it is. And you're like, okay, cool. Like I can relax. I can go out with friends and watch games. Like it's like just like a really big piece of our lives, I think, that has like, again, why we're chatting about it. Why not turn it into something that we can talk about and reconnect with on a weekly basis and be able to share with each other and whoever wants to listen, right?
Yeah, exactly. And an opportunity to say like, okay, the hockey playoffs are on right now. I grew up in Arizona. I don't know a single thing about hockey.
Yeah.
So just an opportunity to go and learn and say,
Yeah.
okay, like what are these sports that we've never even watched before? Um
Totally.
and like what can we learn together and share with other people?
Yeah. Totally agree. And I will second that. I have barely watched hockey I've been to one Kings game in my life. And at some point, like probably in a later episode, we'll talk about the rules of hockey because
Yeah.
growing up on the West Coast, like the Kings are amazing, right? The Kings are like a legacy franchise, but I just don't think it's as popular as like the Northeast or the Midwest.
Not at all.
Yeah, but that's for another day.
All right. What else has been going on this past week?
Oh,
Oh my gosh.
Oh no, you go. You
Go
go.
for it.
No, you go.
Oh, okay. Jesse Owens and Simone Biles got married.
Which
Their
they're
wedding
like
photos are so cute.
yes, they're a beautiful couple.
Stunning.
Yeah, like this is what like they match. They match. Like I
Yeah.
can like, and there's so many professional athlete couples. I don't. They just
Mhm.
find each other. I think it's just like a network and a world that they're in.
It goes to say, too, like just being able to understand one another in that world
Yeah.
that you're in and the pressure. I'm sure it
Yeah.
helps to have someone that knows what that's like.
And traveling and having responsibilities. Yeah, true. I mean, I have some favorites. I like JJ Watt and his wife, who I don't. I want to say it's like starts with a K. It's like something like that. But they are like a rock star couple. She's
The
professional.
only
Go ahead.
the only time that I saw JJ Watt and his wife like together on social media was when JJ Watt was talking about going to the Taylor Swift concert. He was
What?
raving about it. You didn't see that?
No.
He gave this like he went to the show that I went to in Phoenix opening
Mhm.
night, I think, or he went the night after.
Mhm.
But he was like, I've never seen so many people singing together. Like it was amazing. She did 44 songs. She was on for like 3 hours.
Oh wow.
And yeah, it was really funny.
Dude, speaking of Taylor Swift, she she dating someone new that you would know, Megan?
No, she is not. Okay, the rumor has it that Taylor Swift is dating Fernando Alonso, who is he won the Formula 1 World Championship 2005, 2006, and he currently races for Aston Martin, and he's
Okay.
just been like absolutely crushing it. So last season he was on another team and he kind of left them. If you watch Drive to Survive, it gets played up as a dramatic exit.
Okay.
But he's on Aston Martin now and has been on the podium. They haven't had too many races this season, but um, he's been crushing it. And now this like weird rumor. I don't know how this started. I think it was like a European gossip, something or other that just started like the most obscure couple
Yeah.
you could come up with in your head. Like there's no way.
Yeah.
And everyone's like, oh, I can't wait for the album about Taylor Formula One. I was like, no,
I don't
there's
think
no way.
no, I don't think that would happen. Do you think so I am not a Swiftie. I will put that out to the audience listening right now. I am not a Swiftie,
You
but
still would have loved the concert, Katie. I promise you.
do you think I
It was
believe you?
cathartic.
I
It was
believe you.
absolutely cathartic.
So her and her boyfriend recently broke up, right? Do you think that's a new album coming out? Like new pending album?
Um, she's 1,000 steps ahead of everyone all the time.
Mm,
So her next album has probably been written and the release date was set 5 years ago. So
right.
I
Right.
think her albums end up being like kind of like a compilation of her entire life. So I don't
Mm,
know too much about like what songs about who and what's going on, but if you look back at her last album, it's like, okay, some of those songs could have been about this like coming breakup because as a girl, when a breakup happens, you've been expecting it for like 6 months
yeah.
before it happens.
So true. Right. The girl knows when the breakup's gonna happen before the guy has any idea, and that is probably months prior.
Yeah, absolutely.
Um, did you watch the fight with Ryan Garcia?
I didn't watch it because fighting terrifies me. But
Boxing is intense.
I think Ryan Garcia is so cute. Like just as a human being, I find him
Yeah.
adorable.
I remember
I heard he lost.
yeah, he lost to the Tank. Is that his nickname?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it is.
So I saw like a couple clips of it, and Ryan just like he just looked smaller in general. And I know that
Mm-hmm.
doesn't really matter, but it seemed like he was kind of like, I don't want to say outmatched because I don't really know how boxing works. I know it takes a lot of skill, but I can understand why he lost.
Yeah.
And to your point, like I remember I think I was in like early high school and seeing him on Twitter training. Like he would
Yeah.
post, you remember that? He would post like
Yeah.
just, and I'd be like in ninth grade, and I was like, Ryan Garcia, who is
He's so
that? And now,
strong.
yeah, and now he's like fighting like real, like he's in the real boxing leagues, which is like really cool for him. But bummer he lost.
I know. Okay. Because you're a Dodgers fan,
Yeah.
did you see that they moved Mookie
Yes.
Betts to shortstop?
What? Yes, dude. I was gonna bring that up.
Do you know
Okay.
why?
So originally I thought like first of all, it all started when Corey Seager got traded to the Rangers. Okay. So he was gone. He was originally playing shortstop, and that was like a decent time ago. And then they moved Trey Turner to shortstop. I'm pretty sure. Like, I hope I'm not sounding like an idiot, but I thought Trey Turner was at shortstop. Mookie was in the outfield, and I thought we were all good. Bellinger got traded to the Cubs. Like, people started shifting around. And then all of a sudden I saw that Mookie's at shortstop now, and I'm like, did they find like a better outfielder or like are they just low on men in the like shortstop position? I don't know. I think Mookie is an incredible athlete, obviously, like extremely athletic. So I don't think being in the infield will be a problem for him. But
Yeah.
it is kind of like a random move. I don't know what's going on with the Dodgers right now, to be honest with you.
We'll have to see how the season pans out. Did you
Yeah.
see okay, this is close to home, but Garrett Mitchell got injured. So Garrett Mitchell played at UCLA. Uh I worked for the baseball team when I was in college, so I know Garrett from working with him. Um, he made it big, made it up to the Brewers super fast. He's an amazing athlete.
Mm-hmm.
He dove into third base and injured his shoulder. So I think he's out for the season.
No.
I know, it's kind of devastating.
Like, this is his first major league season? Or is he still in the minors?
No, he played last year, I think.
Mm-hmm.
Um, honestly, however many years it's been since we left college feels like one big long year that has like
Yeah.
no break in it. So I don't know if I'm speaking incorrectly on that, but he's been actually on the Brewers for a hot minute.
So, funny story about Garrett Mitchell. My freshman year roommate was on the softball team at UCLA, and she was wonderful. And she was really good friends with Garrett. So, like, I'd met Garrett and, like, like I'd seen him around. And then like full circle, there was a point I think when we were maybe like sophomores or juniors or something where everyone was obsessed. This is like when TikTok started getting big. Everyone was obsessed with this Oregon softball player, like this blondie. She's
Haley.
Haley. Yes, she was so cute. And all of a sudden, Garrett is dating her, and they're like, "Are
Yeah.
they married now?"
Yeah, they got married right after college. They're
Wow,
so cute.
they are cute. They that's another power couple. Um,
Absolutely.
UCLA baseball, man. Like I'm always rooting for those guys.
Yeah. I don't know how they've been doing this season so far, but they definitely hold a very special place in my heart.
Mm. Should we talk about the upcoming NFL draft?
Yeah.
Okay.
Let's. I know the reason I brought this up to you in the first place, because it's next week or this
Mm.
upcoming week. Have you ever actually sat down and thought about how the draft works? Because I just take it for what it is, you know?
Yeah. Yeah. No, I actually haven't. All that I've known, I mean, I like watching it. It's so okay. I like watching it, but you know what's coming. I don't think there's that many occasions where someone is like totally taken off guard with a pick. They call them
I
beforehand and
think
they're like, right?
no, I get the feeling that it's less organized as we think it is.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I mean, because your people are getting taken at any time. You can make trades. You have other options than taking someone who's available from the draft. So,
Mm-hmm.
and you have 10 minutes. So, I don't know how it actually really like works
Yeah,
or what
how
it's
it works.
like. I just imagine you're going to go in like the first round or you're going to be a late round pick or I
Right.
imagine you know that, but you can't know what who's going to go first, who's going to go second. It depends on the team, it depends on what they need.
Yeah,
It depends on how whoever is making those decisions and sitting at the table is feeling that day. So,
totally. And
I did some research
uh-huh.
just so I could get a handle on what's going on. But round one starts on Thursday at 8 p.m. Eastern
Mm-hmm.
time, and it's in Kansas City. Um, Normally, because there's 32 teams, there's 32 picks, 7 rounds, 1 pick per each round.
Mm-hmm.
This year, there's 31 picks in the first round, and it's the Miami Dolphins were stripped of their first round pick for violating. It says violation of NFL rules. I don't know what they did. Later on, I read it was tampering violations. I don't know what they were tampering with, but they don't
Yeah.
have a first round pick.
Wait, could it have been involved with the concussion protocol? Remember how there was all those issues or no? With like
It didn't
Tua?
sound like that to me. There was
Okay.
also a bunch of drama with sports betting.
Yeah.
So Detroit and Washington both had players dismissed for sports betting. Um, 3 of the players were suspended for the whole season because they were betting on NFL games. And I think the other players
Come on.
were suspended, but they were betting on something else.
I,
Um,
I will just say, like, anytime the Commanders come up, it makes my skin crawl. I think Dan Snyder is like
why?
he has like there's like lawsuits against him for like sexual harassment of his employees, and it's been ongoing for like years now. And so, and I know the Commanders are being sold soon, or like they're in talks for it to be sold and get like Snyder out. But them having some sort of like compliance issue would not surprise me.
Yeah. I mean, in any case, it goes to show what, as much as we enjoy sports and like talking about sports, there's a dark side to it, an extremely
Yeah.
sexist side to it, amongst a number of other issues, especially with the NFL.
Mm-hmm.
That can't go without saying. We're talking about it and enjoying it and using it as entertainment, but you have to be cognizant about what's going on behind the scenes and when people speak out talking about it. So,
Totally. No, you're
something to
right.
keep in mind.
Um, so the Carolina Panthers have the first pick this year, because they traded with the Bears, which again, like the poor Bears, I feel like they always have a high pick.
I'm going to be really honest with you. You know those TikToks where it's like a boyfriend shows the girlfriend the sports logos of the teams and she has to guess what they are?
Yeah,
I was so confident I could get 32 out of 32.
yeah,
I completely forgot there was a team that was the Bears.
really.
Like, they just were so absent from my mind. I don't know. I think if you live on the West Coast, you get absorbed in the West Coast. If you live on the East
Hmm.
Coast, you get absorbed in the East Coast. So
The
I was like,
Bears like
oh
also like
yeah.
they like aren't good, so like we know the Chiefs because they're in the Midwest and they're a Super Bowl team, but
Right.
like these random teams, like the only reason I paid attention to the Lions was because Jared Goff got traded. And
Mm-hmm.
but like other than that, I'm like, oh my god, Detroit has a team. Like,
Like you're following players rather than full
Right.
teams sometimes. Yeah.
Right. Um.
Okay, so the beginning of the draft order, it's not the whole thing, but like you said, the Panthers via the Bears, the Texans, Cardinals, Colts, Seahawks via the Broncos, the
Hmm.
Lions via the Rams, the Raiders, the Falcons, the Bears, and then the Eagles via the Saints, and
Okay.
so on and so forth. So, for anyone that doesn't know, hopefully, if you're listening to us, you understand this better than we do. But the draft pick is determined by the reverse order of how teams finished last year. So, if you made it to playoffs, you get the lowest rank. If you didn't make playoffs, you get a higher rank in the draft pick.
Mm-hmm.
And then you can trade your draft picks along with players or not. The one thing I just like completely didn't understand, they were talking about compensatory picks.
Mm-hmm.
It's like up to 32 players. I just like didn't understand what that is at all. So, if anyone listening understands what that is and can tell me before Thursday, shoot me a DM.
That's
Are you looking it
interesting.
up?
Yeah, I'm looking it up. Oh, here we go. NBC Sports. Um, the NFL offers draft placements known as composite. How do you even say that? Composite.
Compensatory.
Compensatory. Designated from rounds number 3 through 7 in the event of a specific personnel change. These include the net loss of compensatory free agents or the hiring of a minority employee as the head coach or general manager in a different team.
Was that like a new policy? Like a diversity, equity, and inclusion thing?
It seems like it is. So, when awarding compensatory picks, the NFL uses a formula that accounts for a player's average salary per year, snap count, and postseason awards. The
Huh.
exact specifics of the formula are confidential. Interesting. But we do know it also takes into consideration the player's history of playing time or lack thereof. That's really, I've never
Sounds
heard.
suspicious.
It sounds a little bit suspicious, but maybe it's something to keep an eye on and look into.
Do you know anything about some of the top players that are getting drafted
Bryce Young, obviously, a stud.
from Bama?
Bama. Yeah, he's supposed to go number 2. You think?
Um, when I read up, I know that people are saying a quarterback's going to go first, but couldn't tell you the difference between any of them. So.
I know. CJ Stroud, Ohio State. So like I have a distaste towards him just like naturally
Why?
Because of Michigan. Yeah.
Don't offend Ohio State like that, Katie.
Are you a
My
fan?
family. Yeah.
Oh no.
Okay.
Oh no.
Fun
No.
fact. Fun fact about Tucson, Arizona. Everyone here is from Ohio. I don't know why. I don't know what brought them out here,
What?
but huge Ohio State conglomerate. Like,
oh no.
so my family, married into the family are Ohio State fans, so we have adopted Ohio State as one of our teams. So
No.
don't
I did
come
not
around
know that about you.
here. Yeah.
I'm literally looking at a Michigan trash can right now, so there's Michigan everywhere now in this house. But yeah, I mean CJ Stroud is like an amazing player. Like
It's disappointing not it's disappointing to not see a lot of Pac-12 people, and
yeah.
I know that's a stupid thing to say because Pac-12 definitely struggles in football, but the I don't know what the right word for it is. It's not like the imbalance of
Yeah.
teams across the United States in college, and it's like if you look at all of these people who are projected to go pretty high, I mean there's some from Oregon, which Oregon's been great at football for many a year, but
Yeah.
not a lot of Pac-12 people, and that's
So
sad.
true. That is sad.
Especially if you go to a Pac-12 school and you know the athletes and you know the people they are, you want to see your friends get drafted. That's
Oh,
so
totally.
cool. And then you
Totally.
want to follow them as they continue on.
So I used to be after I stopped playing volleyball, I joined the athletic department, but like the academic counseling side of it. Do you remember me like doing
Mm-hmm.
those? So
Absolutely.
oh God. So before COVID, I
Were you
tutored.
teaching like astronomy or something?
So, it was the most random classes, right? But it's like these important classes that you need to have as an athlete to like whatever, like core classes. So before COVID happened, like we were doing it in person, obviously, and I would like tutor these athletes. Largely, they were football players. So I would get like a lot of the inside scoop. And one of the players I asked, like, would you be interested in going into the draft? And like, do you want to play NFL? And it was sad what his answer was, because his answer was that would be great, but he gave me a stat like only like 0.1% of college players or some, like make it into the NFL or make any money in the NFL. And that blows
Yeah.
my mind. Like it's so competitive. So if you are a team like UCLA or Arizona or a Pac-12 team who can't compete, like your chances of getting drafted are like close to zero.
Yeah, that's hard. And this is something that too we can talk about another time, but the personalities of people who played, no, I don't mean to offend you by this either. The
No,
personalities
it's
of people who played college sports and then moved on to another career,
yeah.
I think is something so unique. And it's like you can kind of pick them out of a crowd.
Yeah,
Because sports teach you something, and I'm speaking about this not as a collegiate athlete by any means, but I think sports just teaches you something so unique about yourself and about how you function as a human being.
totally.
But it just must be so hard if your dream is to make it into the big leagues and then you end up in a different career path. Like I just can't imagine that.
Oh, I know. I mean, I think at some point you have to get realistic, right? That's just like life. But no, that sucks. That sucks for sure. And that happens to high school athletes too, who are like really want to play college sports and it doesn't work out for them.
Okay, speaking of,
Okay.
I will 1,000% be tuning in, at least in part, on Thursday. Because I find watching the players and their families on video and like the
Yeah.
girlfriends in the corner just like
Yeah.
really entertaining. But
Totally.
one of the guys that is a top draft prospect, Bijan Robinson, actually went to my high school.
Oh
So
my
he's
God.
younger than me. So I didn't know him well, but I went to a small high school. So everyone kind of knew everyone, but he's been at Texas and has been doing absolutely amazing. And I just remember
Mhm.
seeing him at school all the time. It's to wrap your head around, like, oh my gosh, this kid did it. Like, props to
Yeah.
him. Everyone in Tucson is so extremely proud of him. I don't mean to speak for the entire city, but it's so cool that he's made it to the draft.
Yeah, that's insane. Especially from like a very small high school. You
Yeah.
love to
And
see it.
my high school was definitely a sports school. It was something ridiculous, like 80% of kids were multi-sport athletes.
Oh wow.
Um, and that was something that was celebrated, and all the people that did play sports played more than one sport, but also just it was a community that was extremely supportive. The football team played volleyball and beach volleyball in high school and track and field, but the football team used to come to every state match that we had. So if we were hosting state, they would leave their football practice and fill the stands and cheer for us, and it was so
Wow.
fun.
That's great. Did all the athletes kind of know each other?
Um there was like 1,200 kids at my high school, so everyone knew everyone. I think when you're older, you don't know the younger kids as much. Like
Yeah.
I didn't really know Bijan. Like I knew of him. You don't really know them. You know the older kids because that's who you look up to, and those are the people that you're like, oh, like she is an amazing athlete. I want to be like her. I
Yeah.
remember when I was a freshman, my brother was a senior in at my high school, and I was running track and field, and there was a girl she was really good friends with my brother, and she was wicked smart. One of the smartest women I've ever met in my life, and she was getting recruited to go run D1 track and field. And I remember freshman, I would show up to practice and I'd be like, I want to keep up with her.
Yeah.
And to this day, like, we've kept in touch and we keep in touch with their family, but I will never shake that feeling of like, she is like one of the coolest people I've met in my entire life.
That's so sick. Yeah.
It's just because when you're a freshman in high school, you have no idea what's going on. You see a girl who's academically high achieving, and then in sports she's high achieving, and you're just in awe.
Oh yeah. For sure. I remember joining the high school volleyball team, and girls that played at my club that I was like playing at in the off season were on like the varsity team, and I was like, these girls are insane. Like, you think they are like literally like they are years ahead of you, but like it's like a whole different world. And
Right.
I think I would imagine you felt this as well your senior year. Like, one of the most satisfying like pieces of my senior year playing volleyball in high school, at least, was like you can see how the younger girls look up to you, and it's an opportunity for you to like maybe do what you didn't get when you were younger. Like, we had a buddy system, so like I would pair up with like someone from the freshman team when I was a senior and just like basically become friends. And
yeah,
it was cool to see the other side of it where you get to like mentor, and that's the coolest part about sports. Like, it's just like one of those things that like brings people together like that like, would I ever hang out with a freshman when I was a senior in high school? No. But I got
right.
to, like, I got to share moments with this freshman that hopefully she took like you did, and like took the admiration and took, the learning, and like move forward with it.
Right. My senior year of volleyball, me and my best friend were captains, and then we had 4 captains, it was a kind of a complicated setup because women's volleyball is like the most dramatic sport you could pick. But everyone else on our team was a freshman or sophomore. There's 2 juniors, 4 seniors, 2 of us played, and the rest were freshmen or sophomores. And I remember when we got to state, it was this huge battle between everyone, between our coach, between me, between all the players, and there was not a lot of experience in the state tournament. And by the end of it, when we made it to the finals, it was just like, if we're going to do this, we're going to do this like with kindness and with love. And I know that sounds ridiculous, but the girls that were younger on my team, I would do anything for. A bunch of them continued to play in college. My parents went out to their senior night last Friday.
Oh, wow.
And it's just, you just form that bond with people that you don't forget.
Totally. Yeah. High school sports are unique, I think. Like, did you play club volleyball?
I played club volleyball from 7th grade until my sophomore year when I got injured. And then I stopped. Yeah. I fractured my spine.
Well, that's understandable. I think that's understandable. For me, high school volleyball, so like obviously I was trying to get recruited. And so that process happens out of a club program.
Right.
And club tournaments, obviously. So high school volleyball always felt like fun. Like, it felt, like it felt more casual, and the competition was just so different than club because you're playing against girls. At least for me, like, I played against girls from other high schools who were on my club team, who I was like best friends with, and we see each other like across the net, and it's just like so fun, so competitive, and like I miss it dearly. Like, now this is like bringing back a bunch of like emotions about it. But like those were my best friends who I'd play against in high school, and then we'd go back in 2 months or whatever, and then we'd all be on our club team and go compete at like a national tournament. And it's like that's so special.
Okay, you know when you were telling me about most embarrassing sports memories,
Yeah.
you've just unlocked one. So
Tell me.
my sophomore year, I was out for the season with a back fracture. I came back my junior year, despite my height, because I am a pipsqueak.
Yeah.
Before I was a setter, then I was an outside hitter, then I became a libero, which is really where it should have been the entire time, but
Yeah.
besides the point. So my junior year when I came back, I'd never played defensive specialist, never played libero before. So I got put on JV, which was humiliating to me, but make the best of it. By the time the varsity team made it to the state tournament, my coach brought me up to varsity and was like, "You're going to play DS for a setter."
Oh wow.
And so I'm like, okay, I'm going to do my best.
Yeah. Yeah.
Randy Johnson, one of the most famous Diamondbacks players of all time, pitcher.
Okay.
His daughters, who are absolutely insanely athletic, were on the opposing team. It was like the state semifinals. Okay. I'm playing defensive specialist, so I'm caddy corner to the outside hitter.
Yep.
This girl, she's probably 6'8", goes up, drills a ball straight into my face, cross court.
No.
And it bounces straight up. You can hear it. I'm like laying on the ground, but the ball's still in play because it Katie, it was so painful. Like
did it hit your
burned
nose
so badly.
Oh god.
Like just like it was one of those, when you can't get it, you can't set it, you can't pass it, you can't move because it's coming at you so fast. So you just like fall to the ground.
No.
It gives our setter sets my ball that shot off my face. Our middle goes, hits it straight into the net. I was livid. And it was, the whole thing was being live streamed. I remember our basketball team was watching the live stream of our game at practice. And then I went to school the next day and everyone was like, ha, 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 you got hit in the face with a volleyball. I was like, I am the daughter of a computer engineer. I am not the daughter of a professional baseball player.
Also, can I just say, you got the ball in play, and your team screwed it up.
I did.
You got the ball up, girl. Like, you initiated that play, so I don't want to hear anything from other people about it, because you dug it. You just dug it with your face. But
forever imprinted on my face.
Oh, okay, I've had this embarrassing story that I've, wanted to tell you. I've probably told you it before. Also, I just want to point out, since we're on video, this zit on my face is bothering me so much. I'm just looking at myself in the camera. I'm like, oh my god.
Forget about it.
I know. I'm not thinking about it. So in junior high, so I went to public school my whole life, and where I grew up, there's 6 high schools and 6 junior highs. They feed into each other. So there's a junior high valley track meet that you can sign up for in junior high PE if you hit your running, if you hit your mile time or whatever it is, right? And or whatever. So
did you have a proper track and field team?
Not in junior high.
Really?
We didn't have sports in at least at my junior high. We didn't have organized sports.
Really? Okay, yeah. That's weird.
I know. I've heard a lot of other people have, but no, not.
We had basketball, volleyball, and track and field.
Wow. That would have been cool because PE was so boring. Actually, dodgeball was so lit. That was the best when it rained and we'd play dodgeball. Oh. Okay, anyway, so we had this valley track meet, and in 7th grade, I was selected to run the 4x1, and I was the lead off. I was the lead with the baton. Mind you,
straight face as you talk.
No, I know, it's so bad. So mind you, like I've never run track in my life. I'm just like I was just an athlete, right? Like I was like, oh, I'm fast, like I'm a girl, right? I'm like 13 years old. And I'm like already like cringing thinking about this. So I'm getting all hyped up. I've practiced like one time. Like the team all together has practiced one time. And I line up, I have the baton in my hand, they like shoot off the gun, and I am sprinting. Oh, wait, let me preface this with this is at a junior college that this track meet is at, and the stands are filled with parents watching from 6 different junior highs. 6 junior highs. So there's like hundreds
All
of people
across LA?
across
Or
like
just the
my
valley?
alley. Yeah, like where
Okay.
I grew up. Yeah. So I'm like, okay, cool. So I'm like running my ass off, like the fastest I've ever run in my life. I'm like, I gotta show up. I gotta show up. A girl next to me who went to a neighboring junior high, like I had played soccer with her before. So I'm like, I'm gonna be her, right? And I like turn the corner on the first leg and I go to hand off the baton and I'm running so fast that I can't stop myself and I try to slow down when I hand it off. I trip like forward, like my front leg hits my back leg. I pass on the baton. I made it. Land forward, scrape up my entire like side of my thigh, and then while I am sliding across the track, my pants come down. I am not kidding you.
Oh
My
no.
PE shorts came down in front of everyone, and half of my underwear came down. Like, and my underwear was like this, like yellow, blue, like flowers, like some like
Oh
stupid.
no.
And I was, first of all, everyone saw me fall, and then my pants are down. So I was like, and I'm sitting there, and I remember just being like, this is the end. And I got up and I pulled my pants up and I like limped off. I was like more humiliated than in pain, but like my whole leg was bleeding.
Why have I never heard that story before?
Have I not told you? It was just the worst thing.
Never.
I was humbled at that point, and I think that was karma for something. And I was not cute in junior high either. I was like uggo. I probably had braces.
Don't say that about yourself.
Junior high though, like
Everyone was
yeah.
had questionable moments in junior high. Okay.
Okay, Megan, I have some questions for you.
Okay, go for it.
So, because this is our first episode, I think it's appropriate that we kind of set the foreground for our favorites, what we like why we care about sports, blah, blah, blah. So I'm just going to ask you like a couple questions. I want to hear your perspective. So,
Okay.
Baseline, what is your favorite sport to watch?
Right now it's Formula 1 racing. I've never seen a race in person. If I'm gonna go watch something in person, I'm gonna pick baseball. I just think it's a very relaxing environment to be in. And if you grow up, I think you get attached to the sport that you grow up watching. So
yeah,
definitely baseball in person, but Formula 1 all the way if I'm watching it on TV. What about
Drive
you?
to Survive got you hooked.
It got me hooked.
I remember
Their
you were
beautiful
watching...
faces got me hooked.
Okay, my favorite sport... That's so hard. I echo you when you say like whatever you grew up watching. And for me that's college football. But yeah. For some reason in my head, like if someone asks me like what's your favorite sport, I don't immediately say college football. And like I don't know why. I think it's just like it's a comfort sport, so I like am just like, oh, you know, it reminds me of like Fridays and Saturdays, and it reminds me of like my dad and like, you know, like being a family. But it's not like my go-to. I like basketball. I like watching NBA, but I don't think NBA is fun to watch until the playoffs. I think and we've talked about this too. Like it doesn't get fun until it actually matters.
If you're there in a regular season game in person, the fourth quarter gets wild. Mm-hmm. But I agree. And there's not a reality really in which I mean, I've been to one playoff game in my life. it's hard and it's expensive to make it to those games in person.
Yeah.
So they're fun to watch on TV, but
My whole family hates watching baseball on TV, and I don't. Like, so my uncle, he played in the major leagues for a little bit, and so we have like always like I've always known baseball, at least a certain
yeah,
amount. And I love watching it on TV, but like my family won't. They will literally turn it off.
really.
Does yours?
My parents growing up, okay, so Tucson, Arizona doesn't have professional sports, obviously. They're all in Phoenix. The detachment between Tucson and Phoenix is grave. People in Tucson don't like people in Phoenix. People in Phoenix
No
don't like people
way.
in Tucson.
No
Yeah, there's
way.
like a huge divide and it's culturally really different. So, most people in Tucson didn't really follow professional sports. And my parents grew up in
Mm.
Arizona. Um, so they never instilled that like love of a very specific sports team aside from University of Arizona. Everyone
Mm.
in my family went to U of A. I betrayed them, but everyone in my family is like a diehard collegiate sports fan. So anytime we were watching, it was college sports. And
Mm.
then besides that, we had, tennis and golf on a lot. Um,
Mm.
Definitely football, but um, yeah, my mom usually watched a lot of golf and tennis, and my dad watched basketball and football. Um, and I don't know if I really got into it until I was older and could understand what was going on.
Yeah, that's true. Okay, next question. Who is your favorite athlete right now? And I want to guess.
You're
I want
not
to
gonna
guess.
get it because I have a really bizarre answer that has it's. I have a super out of pocket answer.
It's
So
not
go
Max
for it.
Verstappen.
Absolutely not, Katie.
Okay. Sorry, I
He's the
don't know.
villain.
Oh, okay, he's a villain. That's the only Formula One guy I know.
Um, so this is probably not what you're expecting, but Abby Wambach is currently my favorite athlete, and I've never been into soccer.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but Abby Wambach is now married to Glennon Doyle, and they have their own podcast, and it's called We Can Do Hard Things. Um,
Oh.
the way that they speak, and Abby has written books. She's on the podcast with Glennon. The way they speak about things that are going on in the world right now, I admire their perspective and I listen to their podcast religiously.
Mm-hmm.
So if you have a chance, go check it out. But um, she speaks about her story, being an athlete, how that changed her, how it's changed her since she retired.
Mm.
And I just eat it all up. I think listening to her talk is amazing.
Wow. Yeah, that did catch me off guard. But
I
like,
know.
it makes a lot of sense. That sounds like really interesting. And I feel like she has had so much success, but I think she's also faced like, and you tell me, like you're the one that listened to the podcast, but like she's faced like a lot of flack for,
Oh, absolutely.
you
Yeah.
know, and so I respect her a lot. I mean, she seems like an amazing person, an amazing athlete, so understandable.
Okay. Who's your favorite right now?
Okay, so if you had asked me this, so much has changed. I don't know, like so much has changed in the past couple years. Originally, for like a long time, Russell Westbrook was my favorite, and I've gotten so much hate because like he Russell Westbrook is never the guy that wins like an NBA championship. And he's
Mm-hmm.
never like he's been the guy, but like realistically recently he's been like not great. Like his field goal percentage is not great. Like I don't know. I liked him for a long time. In fact, I met him at UCLA when I was walking out of volleyball practice by myself, like downstairs, and someone was coming up the stairs to like go train because NBA players would like use the courts.
Yeah, we used to
And
sneak them in onto
yeah,
campus. Yeah.
yes, exactly. And it was Russell Westbrook. I walked right past him and we like said hi, and I was like, wait, like that's actually insane. And he went to UCLA, and like, so it would be him. At one point it was Cody Bellinger, but that was like in my like college infancy where I was like, Cody Bellinger, like yelling at the games. Still have his jersey though. And now he's not even on the Dodgers. But I think I'm trying to like mirror like what you explained about like admiring an athlete versus just like watching them play and liking them for how they play. I don't have an answer. Maybe I have to get back to you next week on an answer for that, because I don't think I have like a justifiable enough answer. There's a lot of players I like watching who I think are like Jimmy Butler's like one of those, for example.
Yeah.
Who I like think is entertaining. I think he's a good guy. He has a lot of charisma. But like, is he my favorite? I don't really know.
Yeah.
Okay. So what's coming up this week that is big in sports? I know obviously we talked about the NFL draft, so I will be watching that as much. Well, I'll be in Palm Desert, but I will still be watching it.
I'll tune in Thursday night. Maybe not the rest of it, but definitely follow along on social media.
Mm-hmm.
And then the Stanley Cup playoffs and the NBA playoffs obviously are still going on. My favorite thing that's coming up, which I'll be joining you in the desert. Mm-hmm. So I probably won't be watching, but Formula One's returning. They've had a long break. So they're back in Azerbaijan, April 28th, 29th, and 30th.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm so excited for Formula One to be back.
We can throw it on the TV in the house. If it's like on during the day, we can put it on.
It might be on at like 5 o'clock in the morning, and I can guarantee you that I probably won't be awake by then.
Fair. Very fair. PGA Tour is going to Mexico, so that's cool. Little vacay.
And then I guess one of the last things, the Madrid Open's coming up for men's and women's tennis. And it's hopefully going to be super interesting. I don't know if you follow along with tennis. I just watched the Netflix series that they did on it, so it's kind of piqued my interest at the moment now. But Novak Djokovic and Rafael Nadal are both out, so maybe someone else is gonna step up and win.
Right.
They're just elite, dominant. Right. So when they're out, it gives someone else a chance. So that'll be really exciting to follow along with too this week.
Okay, awesome. First of all, thank you everyone for tuning in to our first episode. It was really fun to record, and Megan and I have put a lot of like trial and error into this process because frankly, like we don't know what we're doing and we are learning as we go. So this has been super fun. I don't know, Meg, I hope you agree.
Yeah, I agree.
Okay. But we are going to, like Megan said earlier, try to do this on a weekly basis. Next week we will be busy because we'll be in Palm Desert.
Yeah.
It's not Coachella. So I'll just put that out there. It's not Coachella. Coachella's over. However, planning to do weekly, and we'd also love to like hear what you guys are interested in. And I know probably early on, a lot of the people listening are going to be like our family and friends. So
text us your ideas.
Yeah. Text us your ideas, what you want to hear us talk about. Again, like this is a trial and error process, but we are just here to have a nice chat and catch up and talk about cool things in the sports world. So stay tuned.
Absolutely. If you want to follow us and support us, we're on Instagram at Playing Dirty Podcast, and we're on Twitter at Playing Dirty Pod. And hopefully after this, Katie and I can figure out how to get this up on YouTube. Not my expertise, but hopefully we can connect with you guys everywhere. If you guys do know us, you can text us anything you want, comments, questions, concerns.
Yeah, absolutely. And this podcast will hopefully be on all streaming platforms. So Spotify, Apple Music, wherever you get your podcasts. And once that YouTube is up, it will be, hopefully you enjoy watching us and listening to us. So thanks again, everyone. Thanks for tuning in to the Playing Dirty Pod, and we will see you next week.
Bye.